What happened to the most feared team in the Champions League? Where were the Galacticos, the Stars, the legendary jersey that always demands respect? What we saw in London was a massacre, and the scariest part is that it exposed problems that had been ignored for months. Real Madrid were crushed by Arsenal, and in this video, you'll understand the terrible truth behind this European humiliation. This wasn't just a loss, it was a clear warning that something much bigger is wrong with the most successful club in European history. Stick with me until the end, because the truth might hurt, but it needs to be said. If you love football and you're a cool person, please subscribe to the channel and leave a like. It really helps me a lot. Thank you. Even though Real Madrid is still alive in all competitions, their current form is far from exciting. The 3-0 defeat to Arsenal revealed a truth that many were trying to ignore. Real Madrid doesn't have a clear game plan. Yes, they're still in the La Liga title race, but they're already 4 points behind leaders Barcelona, and Barca will also be their opponent in the Copa del Rey final at the end of the month. In other words, depending on what happens in the upcoming league matches and the return leg against Arsenal, Madrid could arrive at the Copa del Rey final under extreme pressure, with that game being their last real shot at saving the season. And the biggest issue is, you can't trust a team that plays in chaos. Real Madrid is famous for historic comebacks, epic games, magical moments, but all of that hides the fact that this season, yes, this season, the team has no identity on the pitch. There's no clear pattern in their attacking moves, no defensive compactness, no recognizable style. It's like they're always relying on the inspiration of the day. And when you rely solely on individual talent, the risk of a complete team collapse, like what happened against Arsenal, becomes way too high. It's impossible to talk about this defeat without highlighting the chaos in Real Madrid's defense. In the last 4 matches, they've conceded 11 goals. That's right, 11. For a club like Real Madrid, that's not just worrying, it's alarming. Against Arsenal, it was even worse. 12 shots from the English side, 11 of them on target. That shows how little Real did to even disrupt their attacks. And if the score stopped at 3-0, it's thanks to one man, Courtois. The goalkeeper made some unbelievable saves. Even though he just returned from injury, he was the one who fought the hardest to stop the disaster from being even bigger. Yes, it's true the defense was hit hard by injuries this season. The absence of Carvajal and Eder Militao was felt deeply. Mendy, who was starting to show consistency, also got injured. But the big question is, Ancelotti had time to fix things, even with those players out, and he failed. One thing became clear in this Arsenal humiliation. Real Madrid is too dependent on their stars to win games. It's like their only tactic is to give the ball to someone special and hope for the best. But against Arsenal, the attacking trio of Mbappe, Vini Jr. and Rodrigo completely disappeared. None of them made a difference. The truth is, the team has been relying on individual plays for a while now. Mbappe with his explosive runs, Vini with his dribbling, Rodrigo as the surprise factor. And then 2 names stepped up to carry the team, and they deserve full credit: Jude Bellingham and Fede Valverde. Bellingham has been far more consistent than the attacking trio, and Valverde is the kind of player who never hides. He runs for everyone, defends, creates, shoots. He's the engine of the team. For many, he's been Real Madrid's best player this season. But no matter how brilliant those two are, you can't win in football with individual brilliance alone. And Real Madrid is paying the price for relying too heavily on their stars. Speaking of the trio, Vinicius Jr., usually known for his boldness and dribbling, couldn't get past a single defender in 90 minutes. That hadn't happened since the heavy defeat to Manchester City. Mbappe, meanwhile, had the chance to open the scoring when it was still 0-0 and missed. A mistake almost identical to the one he made in the last El Clasico. And with all due respect, a player of Mbappe's level, carrying the weight of his status, can't afford to miss chances like that. As for Rodrigo, he was the quietest of all. It was like he was hiding, avoiding involvement in the match. His poor form is real and concerning. Just 1 goal in his last 20 matches. That's far below what's expected from the player wearing Real Madrid's iconic number 11 shirt. You can't talk about Real Madrid's collapse without pointing fingers at Carlo Ancelotti. Against Arsenal, he waited too long to make changes. even though the team was clearly being dominated. And when he did make substitutions, some were really questionable, like bringing on Modric in such a high-intensity match where age and physicality matter a lot. He could have put more trust in players like Brahim Diaz and Arda Güler, especially in a moment of such urgency. Ancelotti is often praised as a chameleon coach who adapts to the players he has. But now the criticism is growing. He depends on flashes of brilliance, on individual moments, and on the club's tradition. And when those things don't work, he gets exposed, just like he did in London. While Real Madrid was lost on the pitch, Arsenal gave a lesson in modern football. Led by a bold and strategic Mikel Arteta, the English side was intense, united, and ruthless. It's also worth noting Arsenal had injuries too, but unlike Ancelotti, Arteta managed to keep the team's identity alive, even while changing pieces. Let's see what Thierry Henry, the legendary Gunners player, had to say about the match.
I said it, you gotta believe that you can beat them. I still believe that it was possible. I said when that team plays with the four, they are unbalanced. And they were. Unbalanced with Modric in midfield, it was a bit too much in the second half. Declan Rice came big on the two free kicks, but ultimately for me, like I said, Bukayo Saka created everything. The two fouls were on him.
Yes.
Every time taking the ball, running past 1, 2 to 3 to 4 players to go inside to get the free kicks. But overall, as a team, Arsenal played really well. And now we were talking off air, and I will say it again. You can only claim that if you go through against Real Madrid, and it will be one of the best nights I've witnessed as an Arsenal fan.
Tonight, it just felt like one of the great moments we've seen from an Arsenal player, in the history of the club in this competition.
Yeah, definitely. If we go through, most definitely everyone will remember that night because it was against, and it is against Real Madrid. But once again, you have to give Mikel Arteta a lot of credit on repositioning Declan Rice, like Micah talked about at the beginning of the game, because you see now what he's good at. You don't see anymore him not wanting to be on the ball very low and being scared of making mistakes. He goes forward, he participates in games.
The atmosphere at the Emirates was electric. Many are calling it one of the greatest nights in the stadium's history. And if you watched it, you know why. It was more than just a game, it was a statement. A warning, Arsenal's back at the top of European football. Real Madrid didn't get eliminated in England, but what we saw was a broken, lost team with no answers. If something doesn't change fast, this season could end in disaster, with no titles at all. So do you think Ancelotti can turn this around? Comment below with your opinion, subscribe to the channel, drop a like to support us, and hit the bell so you don't miss future videos. See you next time.